Hello everyone, welcome back to Command & Conquer and welcome back to the very final mission in the Nod campaign, or at least the first map of the very final mission of the Nod campaign. So we are in South Africa here and this looks really cool. We're going to start with the northernmost mission. Military resistance 100%.
We have reached the end. The final piece to my puzzle is within your grasp. 2 GDI bases rest on ground I have chosen to be the cradle of my temple. Remove them in any way you can.
Yeah, that was a pretty short briefing, and our objective is clear. Kill all GDI and build the Temple of Nod. So here we are. We start flanked by 2 rivers, and you better move your MCV a little bit to the south, because if you don't, and you deploy your construction yard right where you start, you're going to get hit by that boat, and that boat deals a lot of damage when it hits its target. Usually those boats, they're not all that good at aiming, so if they, let's say, attack a tank, they're going to miss half the time, but the construction yard is a big target, so they're going to destroy that construction yard in absolutely no time. So you might even, depending on where you deploy your MCV, you might not even be able to repair it fast enough. So there's a GDI harvester, but for now I'm not going to attack it because I don't want to trigger GDI attacks straight away. So let's just explore a little bit for now. Yeah. Yeah, my guy got almost destroyed, but at least I managed to lure those grenadiers out of that base, which doesn't really hurt. Oh yeah, there's also a gunboat to the south, so just keep that in mind. So don't move your MCV all the way to the south either, so you don't want to do that, so otherwise this happens. But as you can see, it's pretty bad at aiming, so it didn't really hit those units. So yeah, neither does the one in the north. So let's build that airstrip. Yep, I did a lucky shot there. That one grenadier died and killed his fellow grenadier. And there's a GDI base on this, well, it's not really an island, let's just say on this part of the map. But that map does not have a GI arms factory, so every unit you destroy, every vehicle you destroy is destroyed permanently. So I just built that minigunner to distract an airstrike in case an airstrike was incoming, and yeah, I didn't manage to squish those guys quite as easily as I thought I would. So time to get an advanced power plant. Yeah, just in case you wonder, you can get around just having a single power plant for quite a while, because if your energy drops low, or your power, and that power plant was in a bad spot, then first you will construct a little bit slower, but it doesn't really matter all that much. Once your energy is really low and it gets into the red area, then you really want to build more power plants. But for just having your power in the red, the yellow, it doesn't really matter all that much. And here, got attacked and I barely had any forces left, but luckily I had some infantry from selling that advanced power plant, so yeah, that was kind of useful, I guess. And I really need to kill those grenadiers, because you just see how good they are at killing enemy infantry. Yeah, try to build to the east here, not too much to the north or south for obvious reasons. So yeah, here we go. GDI is stealing my Tiberium, but I didn't want to take the harvester on just yet. So yeah, and I wanted to have that radar station, because you need that for flame tanks and for a couple of other technologies, so yeah, you might want to have it. And you probably want to have a communications station sooner or later anyway, so might as well build it now. There's actually a decent amount of Tiberium here, so you might want to... You could actually build a second refinery. I didn't do it, I think. This again a post-commentary, so don't remember every detail of what I did here. But yeah, you can consider it, so... The NGI is just casually harvesting right next to my base. In case you want to get rid of those gunboats early, just build some power plants to the south and then build a single gun turret, because gun turrets are pretty small, so gunboats are not going to hit them easily, and you can pretty much just let that one gun turret stand there, repair it occasionally, and then have it destroy those ships. It takes a while, It might take 3 or 4 passings from that ship, but yeah, it's worth it. You don't have to worry about that too much.
New construction options.
So you just basically do it like this. Build a building to the south and then build that turret.
Construction complete.
Yeah, and you really want to watch out for your construction yard, because my construction yard is my northwesternmost building. That turret is also attacking that harvester, which is quite convenient. So you want to keep that in mind. And because if I hadn't put that technician there, then the construction yard would have been destroyed by those planes. And you don't really want that to happen. You can actually build more MCVs in this mission, but you need the Temple of Nod for that. So that Temple of Nod costs $3,000. Actually, second most expensive thing what you can build in this game after an MCV, which costs $5,000. So yeah, keep that in mind. So that harvester is a little bit slower because it's almost dead. So and you definitely want a flame tank before you attack that GDI base, mainly because they have a lot of infantry, so obviously flame tanks are efficient against that, but and they also have those guard towers, and there's basically two things a flame tank is good against, and they don't have heavy vehicles, so the one weakness a flame tank has, like heavy tanks, like the medium tanks, well, that's kind of contradictory, but you know what I mean, heavy vehicles as opposed to light vehicles. Those aren't even present in this part of the map, so yeah. Here I smoked that harvester. You can, of course, take over GDI's Tiberium refinery together with that harvester. But yeah, it's not really needed. There's some Tiberium on this map, but you're going to harvest it rather quickly, so having the harvester is nice, but it's not exactly essential. It's not like one of those missions where you have to take over yet another GDI base, and you basically have to rely on having that harvester. Finally it's gone, and you might want to destroy it sooner rather than later, because if you destroy it sooner, it's not going to harvest your Tiberium, and GDI is not going to build Tiberium. It's not going to build more units with the Tiberium, so it's also a second guard tower hidden behind that tree, because those bases are always symmetric. So there's all that infantry, so yeah, you definitely, yeah, you just see one blow from the flame tank and oxygen blows up. You definitely want a flame tank here, so without flame tanks that would have gotten horribly wrong, so. That's another guard tower. Oh, they actually do have a medium tank here, but it's only one and they don't have an arms factory, so can't call in reinforcements. And both of my flame tanks actually survived that, was kind of amazing. So, I lost one now, but that's okay. And obviously you want to take over that base, you want to take over those Tiberium silos. And also get all the other buildings, because, I mean, why build buildings yourself, you can just take them over. Take over that refinery too, so you can have some extra storage capacity. I built that one flame guy just to smoke that one GDI soldier. So here we go. Now that flame guy will be my decoy after saving my decoy, which is a little bit ironic, but that's how things are. Yeah, keep your construction yard intact. And that gunboat to the south is almost down, so I got some money. And I choose to build a Hand of Nod here because I was too lazy to just hand over those engineers and send them to the other part of the map. And yeah, light tanks outrage guard towers, keep that in mind. So, and Hand of Nod only costs 300. Only costs $300. So yeah, it's really cheap. So you might as well put one here. You already have that money at this point. So just doing some exploration here in case there's more stuff. But there wasn't really more stuff. And that guard tower is going down slowly, very slowly. So that's why I decided to build a rocket soldier, because rocket soldiers outrange guard towers as well, but be careful with that, because your own units have a tendency to go into the range. So let's say if I told that rocket guy to attack that guard tower, it likely would have moved up closer than it actually needed to be. I don't know why, but the II of your units likes to do that. So take over these advanced power plants. That would cost you $700. You might as well get them for 500 by sending engineers in. And you're going to find some Chinooks here, and these Chinooks, don't destroy them. You can actually take over those Chinooks with engineers, and you can never build Chinooks in the campaign, so you might as well get those Chinooks. You're getting some more Tiberium, getting that refinery. I don't think I actually have ever taken over a Chinook in multiplayer. I'm not really sure whether that's a general thing, whether that's possible, because I don't think I've ever seen someone building, well, maybe not air units in general, but generally Chinooks in multiplayer, because they're not all that good. I mean, it's nice to have infantry that's mobile, but it's not as essential most of the time. Maps are small enough so you can just directly send in your force. You don't actually need air units. So, and there's a signal flare. So the idea is that we go over to that island, because we're pretty much done here. We have to destroy that gunship, but there's no other way of like leaving this island but these Chinooks. So if you destroy them, it's pretty much over. You won't lose, but there's just no way you're going to get off this island. So that's pretty much it. So don't destroy those Chinooks. So just building another turret here. And I was prepared to repair those power plants in case that gunboat would attack them, but it was focused on different unit, probably that minigunners, so yeah, that was not a problem. And that turret will also absorb the next airstrike, which is nice. So just getting some infantry. Also bazooka soldiers. So yeah, you should pretty much build everything that doesn't really need access to the rest of the map on this island, like your radar, the Temple of Nod, Tiberium silos, power plants, stuff like that, and only build your arms factories, barracks and stuff like that on the second part of the map. So yeah, get your Chinook out of there just so it doesn't get destroyed. Avoid that gunship. So yeah, that gunboat's going to go down sooner rather than later. And you're going to find a power plant and a GDI hospital here, so you obviously want to take over those buildings and then build your own base on this part of the map. So yeah, this mission isn't too difficult. It's not easy, but it's, in my opinion, less difficult than, let's say, Nod mission 11, the one where you had to take over the tech center to get the Ezekiel's wheel back. That might actually be the most fiddly and most difficult mission. So and his hospital looks really odd because now we have a red cross and it's on top of a like red background, so we just have like a giant drop of blood on our power plant. Here you obviously want to build a refinery here to get more Tiberium. For some reason my harvester wasn't harvesting, and also an airfield, and cover all things that are obviously base defenses. GI was right on top of me. And the reason why I built some power plants there was because I didn't want those buildings to get airstriked. So yeah, SAM site, and then we should be good. And that gunboat is finally going down, slowly but surely.
Construction complete.
There we go, finally. Selling that power plant because it would just get destroyed by the next airstrike. And you might want to build some defenses right next to the Tiberium field, so your base defense can actually attack that harvester. That's very convenient. And yeah, one issue here, those harvesters wanted to go to one another's refineries and got stuck, so that's a little bit annoying. So at one point you probably want to sell your southern refineries so your harvesters stop going there. So obviously you want to have an airstrip. Yeah, I have that southern airstrip now, which is kind of useless because I don't really need units on the southern part of the map, except maybe a Tiberium collector, but even that's not really necessary. But you might want to keep it for now because at this point I wasn't really, there comes next airstrike, I wasn't really in dire need of money. Of course you always need money, but I didn't really need the money that desperately. And it allows you to build units faster, so yeah, you might as well take that while you have it. Yeah, and you actually need to build the Temple of Nod, so you don't just need to destroy all GDI forces. And what we're hearing right now is actually the Nod theme of this game. Oh yeah, one thing I never mentioned about the blossom trees. When you stand next to a blossom tree and emits spores, units also will get damaged by it, and that even includes units like the Chem Warrior, who's wearing a hazmat suit and is usually immune to Tiberium exposure, unlike other infantry. And I almost built that buggy on the wrong part of the map. I don't really know why I built it there. That Hauser went down like nothing. For some reason, yeah, there's a problem with airfields. It's because a delivery plane, it approaches the map and then it just lands on, it's not a random airfield, but I never got straight how delivery planes deliver stuff. And in this case it's really annoying because there's just no way to get units across the water, so yeah, except when they're infantry obviously. So again I had to micromanage my harvesters. That's next GDI harvester, so it's going to get killed just like the previous one. And that one was apparently going for the Tiberium of my southern field, so yeah, GDI didn't like me destroying their harvester, but yeah, not a problem if I have an Obelisk of Light. Same goes for those grenadiers. Well, they got one grenade at my Obelisk, but that was pretty much all. And that harvester then was stuck again. It's so ridiculous. Just get some more turrets. You always want your Obelisk to be backed up by turrets because their rate of fire is so slow. Obviously you also want a repair facility to keep your units intact. And there's probably a GDI base to the north. Yeah, to the northeast and one to the northwest. Yeah, has a GDI base defensive. So yeah, that went bad, but who cares? Yeah. So I decided to build it here close to the edge of the base. Not really sure what that Grenadier was going for, but who cares? And there's, yeah, more GDI stuff. There's a decent amount of Tiberium in this map, and the good thing is that it's easy to compete with GDI for that Tiberium, because their northern half-stars likely to get slaughtered by your base defense over and over again, so yeah. That's a lot of infantry. And I almost thought those rocket guys were out of range of my Obelisk, but they weren't, so good for me. Yeah, this map is probably the easiest of the Nod maps. Not really because it's easier in the sense that you get less attacked by GI or so, but its main advantage is that the other maps, if you don't act quickly, they can turn into a slog. And that basically happens if you have your base defenses up, but the map gets low on Tiberium. Then you basically don't have, if you don't have an army ready by then, you don't have means to, whoa, GI was going for me, don't really have means to destroy GDI, but at the same time they don't really have means to destroy you, and that's really, really annoying. And they actually send engineers and a commando and grenadiers after that base, so watch out. Those guys can really mess with your base. And just place a bunch of infantry there in case they send in another chopper. And GI also gets less stuff on this map, so their bases are a little bit smaller than the ones they get on other maps. And on one of the other final maps they get a lot of reinforcements. They just get guys every 2 or 3 minutes. On this map they don't, they get that one chopper and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I couldn't really sneak into that base because I would have touched one of the buildings, and that means that my stealth tank get discovered, and against those 2 advanced guard towers would just be killed within seconds, really.
Reinforcements have
And that
arrived.
GDI tank was obviously trying to attack my southernmost buildings, but couldn't. That artillery, I don't really sure what that artillery was going for. But yeah, a nice synchronized bombing from those planes. Very well done. Good B rating, so. And now for Harvester slaughtering. It's a good thing. If you kill that southeastern Harvester, that's pretty much it. That's all GI has. They can build it over and over again, but then the rest of Tiberium on this map is yours. So there we go. Brave Harvester. That harvester was just standing there for some reason, didn't even try to get away or continue harvesting. That was a little bit odd. So I decided to smoke those guys. Might have been a bad idea, but my flame tank survived it, so I guess that was alright. And I also wasn't attacked by any orcas, that's convenient. They do have commandos and they can build commandos, but because I didn't really use infantry, and as long as my obelisk is up, it doesn't really matter. For some reason, GI also didn't really utilize the iron cannon on this map, so that's just a whole bunch of factors that make this map easier than the other final maps. Yeah, I missed that one harvester, but that other one, as usual, was running straight from my base defenses and just died. Technician fired a couple of shots at my base defenses, but Technician's pistol is just so useless. If you have a lot of vehicles on your in your southern base, you might consider building a repair facility, because if you put a vehicle in a repair facility, you can actually sell it. So it might be worth it, but I only had that one flame tank, so no real reason to bother with that. Okay, and accidentally killed that one infantry guy. So, and what you can also do is, what did I want to say? Oh yeah, you can sell infantry. The way you do it is move it very close to a sandbag, and then move your cell cursor over the sandbag, then move it slightly to the side, so it's basically close to the infantry, and then you can actually sell your infantry, which is obviously not a feature, that's more of a bug. And it's quite interesting, but it's not really useful, because in most missions you won't really have another GI harvester died. You won't really have that much infantry, and even if you start with a little bit of infantry, it doesn't really matter. It's not really worth like doing this fiddly sandbag setting just to get rid of your infantry. Even though if you're really desperate, you might need to rebuild your refinery, so you might want to do it. And my harvesters got stuck again. Man, I had to babysit those harvesters throughout the entire mission, and the downside is when a harvester approaches a refinery, that refinery pretty much gets blocked for other harvesters, so you have to move all harvesters, then let them target refineries, and then continue. And that was just another GI harvester. Yeah, they're continuing to send harvesters in there, but that's fine with me. I'm losing units quickly here, but not as quickly as GDI loses stuff, so that's fine with me. Sending all those lone rocket launchers, not really sure what's up with that. So, some reinforcements, ignoring that bazooka guy for now, killing more harvesters. Luckily GDI didn't really have a whole lot of guys in their base when I killed their first harvester, because that meant that they would just swarm me, and now they can rebuild stuff, but they will also waste money rebuilding harvesters. Those units were almost dead. They will also waste money rebuilding harvesters, and they can't really like build up a huge army in the meantime. And that rocket guy actually destroyed my light tank. Too bad. And the southern part of the map actually does have a blossom tree, so you might want to keep your southern refinery, just in case. Just getting my units into formation. And getting more light tanks, because you will also always need some damage sponges. That's what Nod light tanks are best for. Because they're basically your heaviest unit, or your heaviest tank at least. More airstrikes. Not a problem. Just keep your turret or your SAM site or whatever you have there repaired and you should be good. Yeah, you can attack this base early on, but the problem is that you have to get through that concrete to get to those advanced guardhouse, and they will kill a lot of vehicles before you get through there, so yeah, keep that in mind.
Building.
And as usual, the problem is once you fail a tank rush, you have to rebuild your entire tank force. So yeah, keep that in mind. So that's why I brought in some artillery to take out those regular guardhouse first and weaken those concrete walls, which might or might not work. We'll see.
Reinforcements have arrived.
And I wouldn't build the Temple of Nod too late, because it will take some time until the artillery is already gone. And they built a harvester with the money I got from selling that advanced guard tower. Because if you build your temple late, it will take some time until the nuke is ready, and you won't have the nuke ready when you attack their base, because they have 2 construction yards, so they can rebuild can always rebuild their base with the other base. They can even rebuild other construction yards with their construction yard, because they are cheating. So what you want to do is you want to attack one of their construction yards, destroy it, and then quickly take out the other construction yard with a nuke. And if possible also their arms factory, because a nuke will pretty much destroy everything it hits. Which is the same as the nuke in Red Alert, at least the one in single player. The one multiplayer is ridiculously weak. It doesn't even destroy all light vehicles when it hits. But this nuke here is a real nuke, so... One thing I didn't consider is just landing guys on that cliff. I'm not really sure what you're supposed to do that. Maybe you are. So just want to do some exploration here. With some Tiberium here. And there are actually no base defenses here, so yeah, that's pretty convenient. There are some here, but you can pretty much just land engineers there and walk into that base. That harvester was stuck again. So was that one. So annoying that you have to micromanage them like that. And that base was almost void of units because they run really low. And I'm pretty sure you're supposed to take over those Tiberium silos early on. So if you land units early on, you can easily take over those silos. Then sell them, have GDI rebuild them, and then take them over again. That's a nice way to drain GDI's money. I'm pretty sure, at least I'm 80% sure that's actually what the devs wanted, because you get those Chinooks, they give that to you, and there's a very convenient way to land on that cliff. And yeah, it's just very convenient overall. There's Temple of Nod, now we have Nuclear Strike and we can build MCVs. So, and that nuke it's charging up fairly quickly, but not as quickly as the iron cannon, I think. And you only have one, so make it count. So let's get some engineers, because obviously you want to do that base rush tactic. Maybe I should have done that earlier, but it wasn't really necessary. But it can be rather convenient. What you can also do, if you really want to, you can take over one building, then build an obelisk and maybe a couple of gun turrets right in their base and just have them zap whatever they build over and over again. Or you can just place units on the spots where they build their buildings, because in that case they can't rebuild their building, because yeah, I always rebuild buildings on the same spot as they were, so if you place something there, they are not going to rebuild it. And needless to say, the Temple of Nod looks like a massive scorpion. And those units, those units almost got killed by an airstrike. I completely forgot about that, so But luckily I had that one minigun on there which basically absorbed it while my Chinook and engineer remained unscratched. That was a little bit ridiculous. That got attacked by this guard turret, so I want to take over that barracks, mainly because they couldn't just spam more infantry, because that's just so annoying. And that's pretty much what I mean, just build a base defense in their base. From selling that, they were building an engineer. That was kind of annoying. Yeah, one advanced guard tower really does wonder. And that was actually out of range of my advanced guard tower, which was kind of annoying. So I decided to build a normal guard tower there. And I decided to take over the arms factory next, which didn't work, but I kind of wanted to do that because then they couldn't build any vehicles. And especially not rebuild their Tiberium harvesters. So yeah, I built a GI barracks just so I get grenadiers, even though I don't really build them. Yeah, but yeah, why not? My harvesters got stuck again. I decided to just attack, because why not? There weren't any units, so the attack was comparably easy. And they actually built stuff from selling those structures, so it was a little bit ridiculous, but was just artillery, so no problem for me. There goes the arms factory. And they actually rebuilt their tower by selling that stuff, so yeah, I definitely has to get more money for selling stuff, because otherwise I couldn't afford all of that. So infantry just, those 5 guys just died within seconds. It was a little bit ridiculous. One lone grenadier attacked me, not a problem. They can barely attack those buildings. They are building a lot of stuff from all that money they got, so. It's not a problem for me. I just want to build another SAM site there, so my secondary construction didn't get smoked by the next airstrike. Then destroy the pesky artillery. And my harvester was pretty much out of Tiberium. So I decided to sell the refinery, so my other harvester would finally stop targeting those refineries. And my nuclear strike's ready. I built another barrack there because I was too lazy to move my engineers across the map. And I want to take over that arms factory.
Building.
So let's just get an engineer. Yeah, even if you don't want GI units, might still do it for the money. And now I actually had access to mammoth tanks. That's pretty sweet. But they're not really needed, so medium tanks are usually good enough. Because mammoth tanks are really slow, and against GI it's often good to have at least medium fast units like the light tank or the medium tank. There's actually a path here, so it's quite interesting. That's another of those factors that make this map a little bit easier than the other maps. And also more fun, because it's kind of fun to do stuff like sneaking into bases with engineers. Not the cheap engineer rush, but doing it like the proper infiltration way, like I did with that base. Now that base still had some units in it, but wasn't too bad overall. There was actually a whole bunch of infantry in that corner. I'm not really sure what's up with that, whether that's reinforcements via Chinook. It could be because that team looked pretty much like the other team, and here I just nuked their arms factory and their construction yard, and all that infantry died. So now they basically had no way of rebuilding anything. That's pretty much what I wanted. Now for going after that base from the north. Yeah, you can also do that. With an engineer you can probably destroy one wall segment with a rocket guy while staying out of range of the advanced guard tower and then get in a bunch of engineers. So if you don't have a nuke or already used it, you can actually probably simultaneously take both construction yards with engineers. At this point, I've pretty much won this mission. Just clean up some more infantry, destroy the barracks so they don't build even more infantry. And now the advanced guard towers should be out of power too. There's still a bunch of engineers left on that part of the map for some reason. Yeah, and hello boys, and they're dead. The flame tanks are so good at destroying buildings, makes it so much faster. Yeah, before we end this mission, the Nod campaign actually has 4 slightly different endings. They're not radically different and they're the same story-wise. And I'm going to show off one ending after this mission, 2 of the endings after the next 2 missions, and then the final ending after the 3rd variant of this map. So at this point all that was left was that one, I think, wasn't there a GDI soldier running away from that one base, but maybe that one got already killed. So there's no civilian buildings on this map, so all I had to do was destroy those silos. And yeah, here we go pretty much. And calm music is already playing now that I've pacified South Africa, and all of Africa belongs to Nod, except for Madagascar, because Madagascar, you're never going to get Madagascar. Especially not if you're a virus. And those flame tanks almost destroyed one another while they were smoking those silos.
Mission accomplished.
And here we go. Funky music is playing. Efficiency 2%, but who cares? And my total score was really low for the final mission. No civilian casualties, because there were no civilians, so yeah. I lost a fair number of units, but I lost almost 10 times the number of units. And I only lost a single building, that was that one, I think that was a power plant, so not really sure. Anyway, here we are, so let's enjoy the ending.
Do it up. It's more like isn't that what it is at the end? A great future, a little...
Your efforts have landed us here, my faithful friend. The temple is complete, and we are about to embark upon our greatest exploit. For now, relax, and watch as my netrunners dance through the web of cyberspace. Once inside, the world is at my fingertips. Begin.
Welcome to the Global Defense Initiative Orbital Defense Matrix.
The world. Where to strike? Where will the world most keenly feel the blade of GDI treachery? You have done much to aid the Brotherhood towards this final victory. The choice, my friend, is yours.
Today, angry political leaders of the G7 nations issued a formal statement denying complicity in last Tuesday's tragedy involving the most famous address in the world, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C.'s renowned White House. The death toll in what some are calling an unwarranted attack passed 600 today as rescue workers and United Nations teams continued to sift through the rubble, unearthing 12 more bodies from what was once the seat of Western democracy. U.S. President Robert Fielding, safe at Camp David at the time of the explosion, reiterated his support of the UN statement, despite growing opposition to global defense initiative policies. Fielding labeled the disaster, quote, a mind-numbing accident. GDI Task Force Commander General Mark Shepard, accompanied by U.S. Attorney General Nancy Griffith, testified before a Senate congressional hearing earlier today. Shepard, once the golden boy of international diplomacy, wilted under intense cross-examination from hostile senators, demanding explanations for the blast that leveled the historic landmark and sparked an international debate on the need for more effective safeguards in the age of high-tech warfare. Defensive but unapologetic, Shepard admitted he had no idea how security access for GDI's top-secret orbiting